provided.
The next question will begin with you. Other than increasing property tax yields, how do you propose to increase revenue in response to rising service demands and unfunded mandates from Annapolis and Washington?
We'll build them. As I said before, we have the opportunity to utilize the revenues coming in from the casino. That will be projected at about $3 million this year. If it starts and thrives as projected, and that build out would be probably about $10 million. So our BLT committee will digest that and see how we can finesse that revenue into providing necessary services and just getting those jobs established here in Cecil County, getting that infrastructure in the ground with the partnerships we need to, with the utilization of our tools in our toolbox with the special taxing districts to have that cost not be on the backs of taxpayers and be on the backs of people that are going to be developing there and creating new residential development and new business development there. They would pay for that infrastructure rather than currently shouldering the burden onto our current taxpayers.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts.
Could you repeat it, please?
Absolutely. Other than increasing property tax yields, how do you propose to increase revenue in response to rising service demands and unfunded mandates from Annapolis and Washington?
Rising service demands is another word for increased cost to provide the same services we're already providing. I don't know that there are more demands. I think it costs more to deliver those. And with it, county commissioners were very proud of the fact that they funded the FY 2011 budget at the constant yield on property tax. And the budget director, when he gave his presentation to those who attended the hearing, he made the comment that in his introductory remarks, that in fact, because of the constant yield, we may have to raise taxes in FY 2012. That's next year. Now that came from Mr. Whiteford. And that's because the assessments have gone down the last 2 years. They do 1/3 of the county at a time. So those assessments have gone down. So if you're going to generate the same kind of property tax income for fiscal year 2012, you're going to have to raise property taxes. And that was the one thing that didn't come out when people started talking about the constant yield. The constant yield is a misunderstood statistic that people are going to be very surprised if things don't change. That's why we have to turn the tables. We have to generate a greater revenue source from increasing businesses, retaining the businesses we have, expand those businesses, recruit new businesses, and increase the number of people who work in those businesses. The only way we're going to control property taxes is if we find other revenue streams. We're late, we're behind the 8 ball on that. We need to get moving, and we need to get moving yesterday. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Tome, you have 1 minute to respond if you'd like.
I think that what Mr. Wafer was referring to was the rate in order to be able to derive the same amount of money. Not really necessarily do we, or any of us, want to raise taxes that the individual taxpayer is paying. We need to keep that as under control as we can, because we all pay taxes. And raising the ability of us to create and to attract businesses into the community that are going to provide those high yield jobs, that are going to provide a piggyback income tax that we can get that revenue off of, and the businesses that are in creating the tax base with low service demand and the social issues of the low income socioeconomic status of the community that demand services, then we can raise the bar, and we will be obtaining that revenue in the future.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts, you have 1 minute to respond if you so choose.
If your revenue stays the same or goes down and the cost of your services goes up, something has to give. We need to change that. Thank you.
Mr. Roberts, we're going to begin with you for the next question, and that is, how should the growth corridor be developed along with your proposal to protect rural areas from overdevelopment of residential units, and your view on imposing some type of fee on residential developers to help offset infrastructure costs such as roads and schools? I'll repeat that as you wish.
First of all, the only way you maintain the rural character is to expand and grow in the growth corridor. You can't have it both, so you have to grow in the growth corridor. We need a strategic plan. People probably are tired of hearing about that, but you need a strategic plan that dictates how you're going to get the infrastructure components from the Delaware line to the Susquehanna River. And in that, and have a timeline on how you're going to do it so prospective businesses have an understanding of what they can expect if they choose to locate in Cecil County. If they choose, if they're already here and they choose to expand in Cecil County, they need to know what to expect as far as having the services they need for their business to be successful. With that, to maintain the rural character outside the growth corridor, if you generate the revenue and you expand within it, then you can maintain your density, your current density formula and so forth in the areas such as below the canal, in the Fair Hill area and across 273 to Rising Sun. With that, Mr. Tome talked about special taxing district. There's also TIF financing opportunities. We need to be creative, and we need to find a way that we can have that private-public partnership. He said it, I agree. Public-private partnership, and where developers pay part of the freight because they're going to benefit from the profits. With that, we need to do a lot more comprehensive study on how we can change our current business model so that we do not put a burden on the individual taxpayer in Cecil County, and that we can still prosper and enjoy the services that everyone desires.
Thank you. Mr. Tome, how should the growth corridor be developed along with your proposal to protect rural areas from overdevelopment of residential units, and your view on imposing some type of fee on residential developers to help offset infrastructure costs such as roads, schools, etc.?
As far as rural character, I think we're well on our way to doing that. We funded and supported the preservation efforts and purchased massive tracts of land and put it into preservation with the partnership with Maryland and the money we put forth, and the federal programs for the scenic easements that we purchased at Mount Ararat. The Purchase of Development Rights program is a good program, but we don't have any place to put it because we need to get that infrastructure in the growth corridor. So when we get the infrastructure in the growth corridor, we can start upping those densities and protecting the property rights of those folks that are in the NAR and the SAR, so that they can sell their development rights, and there's a market for that because there'll be a place to put them in the growth corridor. The tough thing is financing that, and the tax increment financing programs and the special taxing district. The tools in the toolbox are going to be the things that we need to mold into the comprehensive plan that we just wrote. It's a good template. Everybody knows what the community feels, and 41-member committee to put 2 years into the next planning for the next 15 plus years. And I think that that's what is going to be the key to moving us into the future, is that we get large development teams and folks in here that are really going to concentrate on putting that infrastructure in. We have on the cuff of signing a gas franchise, hopefully put gas in the corridor, so there's some light at the end of the tunnel with those type of things are right around the corner, and we need to get the help from the state to fast track the approval processes through the regulatory agencies.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts, you have 1 minute to respond, should you so choose.
People ask me all the time, or critique me all the time that I don't smile enough, and they say, Carl, you need to smile more. This is serious business. And I have a difficult time when we talk about the worst economic time in our history, and people talk about things are right around the corner and it's coming. Folks, we're in trouble in this country. We're in trouble in Maryland, we're in trouble in Cecil County. Now we can get out of the jam, but we need to be comprehensive and plan in the way we do it and with it. And if we do not change the way we are currently doing business, we're going to be in the same shape we've been over the next 5 years. We need to dramatically change the way we govern, the way we lead, if we're going to be able to successfully make it through these difficult economic times. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, you have 1 minute to respond if you'd like.
I think we've been doing a good job. Record speaks for itself in the last 4 years. I want 4 more years, so I'm here as asking for 4 more years.
Okay, you keep